right, good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming out here today. From the very first day that I took office, my team and I have been working to make Louisville a healthier city because it's obvious that health is the foundational element of everything that we do as people and everything that we do as a community. And that's why we have to stay vigilant and respond quickly to anything that might threaten the health of our residents, and in particular the health of our children. One of those threats, as I've discussed several times over this past year and even more so in these last few months, is the danger of vaping and e-cigarettes. I'm proud to say that our city recognized and took action on the dangers of e-cigarettes years ago, particularly the danger of them being used in public spaces. That's why in 2017, Louisville included e-cigarettes and hookah products under our smoke-free ordinance. The ordinance now prohibits smoking, vaping, and the use of hookah products in all indoor public places and work sites. And today, thankfully, Louisville now has one of the strongest smoke-free ordinances in the United States of America. Naturally, we're working with partners like JCPS and students in our city. I am really proud of the members of my youth implementation team who last year led the charge to highlight the dangers of e-cigarettes that resulted in a national resolution by the United States Conference of Mayors highlighting the dangers of e-cigs and vaping. So to talk a little bit about that focus amongst our youth leaders on e-cigarette and vaping, I'm really happy to present Sydney Tucker. She's a member of our youth implementation team. She's a veteran of the team. She currently is a freshman at Spalding after graduating from DuPont Manual. Please welcome Sydney Tucker.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sydney Tucker, and I am part of the youth implementation team with the Office of Safe and Healthy Neighborhoods. We are a youth advisory group of the mayor to elevate and discuss issues that impact young people like us. Every year, the youth implementation team collectively decides, research, discuss, and recommend policy change. Last year, we addressed the issue of vaping among people my age to ways to raise awareness about the harmful impact. This platform has really helped us make many differences in the community, including the vaping epidemic. The vaping epidemic was and still is a big problem in our community along with this country. But as a youth team talking with the mayor, we started making recommendations to address the epidemic that is affecting our generation and beyond. Our discussions during our regularly scheduled meetings with the mayor even led to the issue being brought up nationally to the Conference of Mayors. City leaders listened when we gave our youth's perspective on this epidemic. We are proud to work alongside with the mayor to make our change in our community and raise awareness that vaping is harmful. We can't wait to see what we're going to do moving forward.
Thank you, Sydney, and again, thanks to you and the whole youth implementation team, Rashad, the whole group coming together to highlight this really dangerous situation. So when you think about where we're at right now as a country and a city as a state with e-cigarettes and vaping, it's even more important to address this issue because we're seeing a tragic increase in the outbreak of serious and sometimes fatal lung problems developing in people who use these products. I'm proud of what we have done, but it's clear we have to do more to protect the health of our children and the health of our community. Now, just last week, the Kentucky Department for Public Health reported that a man in his 20s died after a vaping-related illness here in our Commonwealth. And according to research, use of e-cigarettes, JUUL, and other vaping devices among Kentucky teens nearly doubled from 2016 to 2018. And that's probably no accident. These devices have been clearly designed and marketed to appeal to children. There are flavors such as bubblegum, cotton candy, mango, cherry, and vanilla. Many of these devices have been designed to look like computer flash drives to avoid detection by parents, teachers, and school personnel. And I believe the goal is to turn our kids into nicotine addicts, or as the makers of these devices clearly think of them, paying customers. That is totally unacceptable. In Louisville, when the health of our residents is threatened, we respond, as we have to the opioid epidemic in our city, and so many other challenges. Now, part of our strategy for fighting opioids was to identify the companies whose actions helped create this devastating crisis. In partnership with our great county attorney, Mike O'Connell, we took those companies to court and we're working to hold them accountable. Now, once again, in partnership with Jefferson County Attorney Mike O'Connell and his team, we are filing a lawsuit against JUUL, the company whose actions are leading to our children becoming addicted to nicotine. On behalf of the people of Louisville and the city of Louisville, we will not stand for that. We will fight to ensure that those who fuel this epidemic are part of ending it, and that they do everything possible to reverse the harm they've caused for young people, our families, and our community. And we know, of course, that cases like this could cost millions of dollars to litigate, which is beyond the scope of our city's resources. That's why the county attorney has engaged outside counsel, and now I would like to introduce County Attorney Mike O'Connell, who will offer more details about that engagement and the lawsuit. Mike?
Mayor. Let me get my little device out of here. There you are. Cute little thing, isn't it? That's what we're talking about here today, and that's what we're talking about nationally. And let me not mince words when it comes to this. JUUL delivers levels of nicotine cranked up much higher than traditional cigarette, and they've targeted their product to impressionable kids. This has been a surgical strike against our young, addicting a new generation to nicotine for life. The damage is done, and JUUL must be held accountable for their actions. Empirical evidence shows that JUUL delivers 36% more nicotine per puff than a Marlboro cigarette. It's no wonder teens and other users are getting hooked from these more potent doses. JUUL used young people to give away its device at movie and music events, and also provide samples of flavors like, as the mayor said, mango, creme brulee, and others. JUUL mimicked the clean white packaging of products made by Apple, even going so far as to call themselves the iPhone of e-cigarettes. Again, it's no wonder our kids never had a chance. And now JUUL has grown to control nearly 3/4 of the e-cigarette market, a market that has not seen the same regulations to which traditional cigarettes are held. JUUL forecasted its revenue to be more than $3 billion in 2019. $3 billion. If you don't think this is about money and grooming the next crop of highly profitable nicotine addicts, then you're kidding yourself. Altria, and I'm going to tell you about them in a second. Altria, A-L-T-R-I-A, it's a wonderful sounding name, isn't it? Paid $12.8 billion to take a 35% equity stake in JUUL in 2018, valuing their new partner at $38 billion. Well, who is Altria? Altria Group Incorporated was previously known as Philip Morris Companies, Inc. The onset of its rebranding took place in 2003, and Altria was created because Philip Morris wished to emphasize that its business portfolio had come to consist of more than Philip Morris USA. The name Altria is claimed to come from the Latin word for high, and was a part of a trend of companies rebranding to names that previously did not exist. Linguist, however, Steven Pinker suggests that, in fact, the name is an egregious example of what he calls phonesthesia. This is a Madison Avenue ad company's way to do things, with the company attempting to, quote, switch its image from bad people who sell addictive carcinogens to a place or stated market by altruism and other lofty values. Oh my, oh my. Altria, don't forget that word, ladies and gentlemen. The branding's consultants, the Worthland Group, said the name change alternative offers the possibility of masking the negatives associated with the tobacco business, thus enabling the company to improve its image and raise its profile without sacrificing tobacco products. That's who Altria is. What Altria did, or AKA as we know it as Philip Morris before it changed its name, must believe JUUL is a good investment to spend billions on a minority share in the company. JUUL built a more addictive mousetrap, and Altria wanted in. We must reduce the appeal of and access to vape products for our young people. Even if JUUL may have abandoned some of its most egregious practices, here's the problem. The damage is already done. The epidemic is here. Kentucky, like with the opioid epidemic, is at ground zero, as we have the second highest usage of e-cigarettes in the country. Now that's something to be proud of, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? The second highest use of e-cigarettes in the country. That's why we're filing this action today, and to help us with this effort, we've hired the law firms of Hendy, Johnson, Vaughn, Emery of Louisville, and Wagstaff Cartmel of Kansas City, Missouri, as outside counsel. Ron Johnson, who is over to my right, is our lead attorney on this, and he is with us today to answer questions that you may have. Ron has become an expert on this topic, having filed lawsuits against JUUL on behalf of Jefferson County Public Schools recently, and the school districts for Fayette and Bullitt County, among others. Louisville Metro filed this lawsuit in district court for the Northern District of California in San Francisco. We filed there because all litigation involving vaping and e-cigarettes that has been aggregated in what some of you may know as multi-district litigation, or an MDL. As an example, Louisville Metro's lawsuit with respect to the opioid crisis, that MDL is located in the Northern District of Ohio Federal Court in Cleveland. So that's how the federal courts operate in these fashions. Ron has extensive experience with this type of litigation, having twice been appointed lead counsel by federal judges in MDL cases. He also served on the plaintiff's steering committee for another multi-district litigation. As Mayor Fisher noted, Louisville Metro will see no cost from this action. These outside counsel will only be paid if the city receives an award as a result of trial or settlement. Again, Ron is here to answer specific questions about our lawsuit after we've heard from Dr. Moyer. But let me end with this. These are just a few of the words we've used to describe the actions of JUUL and individuals associated with the company: misrepresented, misled, and concealed. JUUL misrepresented material facts regarding its products and their effects. And by the way, federal courts have found that Altria and others have lied in the way they have promoted their products. Not just, they're not false claims, ladies and gentlemen, they're lies. That's what they are. JUUL misled customers to believe that its products were not as harmful as traditional cigarettes. And JUUL concealed the unparalleled potency of its e-cigarette. Folks, JUUL lied to us, and we're going to go after them to get a refund for the wreckage of those lives that this has cost, and do our best work with Ron and his team and do the best we can to achieve a good result for the citizens of this community. So we ask for your prayers and finger crossing and everything that we can do to try to help this community. I'm going to leave this up here just so it's so cute, isn't it? It really is. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Counselor. I appreciate that. Now I'd like to introduce the Chief Health Strategist for the City of Louisville. She's the Director of our Department of Public Health and Wellness, Dr. Sarah Moyer.
All right, well, it saddens me to be here talking to you today, not about the award-winning work that our Louisville Metro Department of Public Health and Wellness is doing to solve new public health challenges, but instead talking about battling yesterday's health challenges all over again. Over the past 3 decades, smoking rates have steadily declined in the U.S., causing cancer rates to fall year after year. This was one of public health's wins of the modern era. Now we're finding ourselves having to fight the same battle again as a new generation is hooked on nicotine through e-cigarettes. Over the last 5 years, there's been an explosion of vaping use among young people. Over half of high school students have tried e-cigarettes, and 1 in 4 vape regularly. E-cigarettes are now the most common used tobacco product among youth, surpassing cigarettes in 2014. And one reason, as you've heard, is that e-cigarettes have falsely been marketed as safe. According to a 2019 study, 63% of people between the ages of 15 and 24 didn't even realize that the solutions in JUUL pods contain nicotine. Of the many toxic substances in e-cigarettes, the most common is nicotine, a drug as addictive as cocaine or heroin, and it causes a multitude of health problems. Nicotine exposure during periods of significant brain development, such as pregnancy, childhood, and adolescence, can disrupt the growth of brain circuits that control attention and learning. It also puts youth at risk for a greater risk of having a substance use disorder later in life, a problem we know all too well here in Louisville. JUUL devices are designed to deliver greater amounts of nicotine more efficiently while reducing the throat irritation. The result's a quicker, stronger, and more palatable delivery of nicotine designed to appeal to children and youth. JUUL's products actually deliver doses of nicotine that are higher than conventional cigarettes, and by delivering such potent doses of nicotine, vaping products magnifying the health risks posed by nicotine. And sadly, as you heard, last week we saw our first death, acute death related to vaping here in Kentucky. We're watching all the progress we've made in the last 3 decades in reducing smoking and its associated harms evaporate. We know how to reverse this trend because we've done it before. We're going to be taking a stand up to big tobacco and vaping companies, and it's going to take strong policy changes both at the federal, state, and local level, and it's going to take funding for cessation and prevention. We must protect our children and our young people from a future with attention deficits, substance use, strokes, heart attacks, and cardiovascular diseases. We also must protect them from the cell proliferation and DNA mutations caused by nicotine that lead to cancer. And we must protect from the reproductive and immunosuppressive disorders caused by nicotine. So today we're holding JUUL accountable so that successive generations can look ahead and see a healthy Louisville where everyone and every community thrives. Thank you.
Okay, so we've seen this movie play out before with tobacco. We're not going to stand by as we see it playing out at an even accelerated rate right now, and we intend to hold those parties accountable, recover funds that we can put back to use for the benefit of the citizens and the youth of Louisville. At this time, we're happy to take any questions. One-on-ones with Gilbert, okay. Anything else?
Same for me. And in the case that the award amount is not covering the attorney's expenses, will the city pay out of pocket in that case?
Yeah, Mike.
There's no scenario in which that can happen. The only way that the city will pay any expenses or fees is if there is a recovery sufficient to cover all those. So there's in no scenario would the city be upside down on either expenses or fees.
Okay, we'll grab your one-on-ones. Thanks for covering this. This is obviously a super important initiative for our city. Thanks, everybody.